again, I think we're both old and so forth, and we sort of know how big Newcastle are. But just explain from a guy actually living in Newcastle how important the Magpies are and the football team is, and how what's a big deal it was at St. James's Park and so forth and everything in Newcastle, and why this is a big deal in them getting taken over.
Yeah, given the background, for those who don't know where, just as a FYI, I am at work, so if you hear a bit, I might get a bit phoned or bleeps if I cut off. But I am still here.
Tell them you're in a hangar. Tell them.
Call back.
Right.
Okay. So just a bit of a Newcastle, because Newcastle are kind of like my second team ever since I sort of moved up with my family, like goodness knows 2 decades ago. But so essentially, for those who were around with like early Premier League kind of sort of time. Newcastle actually were competing for European football. Like I think as a United fan, the classic one was when Kevin Keegan, you can see on YouTube I'm coming for Sir Alex Ferguson. He was calling him out, etc. Fergie mind games, and obviously Newcastle don't win the league that season. So Newcastle were actually one of the big Premier League teams, and then unfortunately in 2003, Mike Ashley basically bought the club. And they went from a team that actually were one of the highest spenders, at least relative to Premier League time, to one of the negligible. Let me put it this way: it was. I think they recently broke their transfer record. I think it was last year I think it was Joe Linton. Before that, go on.
When they got Shearer from Newcastle for, I think it was 30 million.
Yeah,
that was the record.
That was the record of time. Yes. Yeah, exactly.
30 million for Shearer. Yeah.
It's nothing now, so by the time, it was big. So this is the context. At the time, they were a club they wanted to compete at the highest level in European football. So that is a lot of Newcastle fans, especially our age and so older, are it's been painful for them because they know where Newcastle as a football club were going and what they were achieving. Obviously, when Mike Ashley took that spending or that competition just went to basically zero. Mike Ashley, for goodness knows how long, I make a case that is probably worse than the Glazers, because he literally turned Newcastle into a business, in a good way, in a sense, because they're not in any debt. So that's one thing. If I go into the Newcastle City comparisons, it's just a good thing.
No. When that guy changed it from St. James's Park to the Sports Direct Stadium.
Sports Direct Stadium, yes.
That's messed up, bro.
Because that was his business. So it was more to advertise his business, Sports Direct, here, cheap sorts of stuff and the slave labor conditions that we have, because Mike Ashley was a harsh worker. But yeah, the ambition of Newcastle Football Club was crap. They didn't want to compete anything. And like I said before, their record signing, I think Joe Linton last season, was it Joe Linton Amron or whatever? Their previous record for that was Michael Owen in 2006. So Newcastle essentially become more of a selling club since then. And really, a lot of the fans, they just were so disillusioned with Mike Ashley's ownership. Mike Ashley. I mean, to be fair, Sullivan does have a point, because Mike Ashley kept Newcastle in profit. That's the thing no. From
we can have what he is, because he did some stuff that was okay against the kind of nature of the club, but he's still as I said, business wise, he still kept them in the green, and he was always trying to just make this club profitable. That's when you bankrupted the freaking club and left that way and just ran away. So
Newcastle were one of the few Premier League teams that actually make an annual profit every single year, about 40-50 million annually. So that is an issue. So I don't think you can, but obviously that exchange crippled the ambitions for the club, and a lot of fans wanted him out, and those protests intensified over the last 5 years or so. And then so obviously a year ago, when there was word that the Saudis with Amanda Staveley were backed with a consortium, right, okay, we want to now take over the club. Newcastle fans were ecstatic. We're this has to get through. 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 It fell through initially, and we know now why it fell through, because of the issues with piracy rights with beIN Sports, the Qatari-based sporting that has the rights to the Premier League and other leagues in North Africa and the Middle East. They've resolved that, which I think cost them quite a bit, and obviously that's paved them the way for this deal to go through. So I mean, man, it's if you went to literally, it was mad. mad in the city centre.
No, because actually, because I want to actually let me just get this done because I want to know what the mood was like. But let me just quickly get this dub. So from your boy Yasaside, who says, "Thank you for the dub, man." Yasaside, who says, "HH, the English media are trying to push this Lampard to Newcastle job. They think we are not onto them, but Stevie G is a very interesting potential hire." Look, you see, my thing is that I see. That's why I just love that I have this kind of platform because I can give you the real. The media is trying to somehow create this narrative that Lampard is this amazing man to play because, see, English medium people, they just like to pick people. Like, sort of like the teacher's pets back in school. Newcastle, you play. If you want to be successful, this is a job for Antonio Conte. Because Conte can come and, bro, I now have funds. I can actually cherry pick the kind of players I want. Bro, you give this to Conte, we now have a very interesting league. And Red Devil, bro, if Conte gets that job, I fear for United. I mean, United could be that team that especially if Ole is still in charge. Because, again, this is only good for the Premier League because now we now have another major player in the game. We now have another major player in the game, which makes it super exciting.
You're saying fear for United. What about Arsenal and Spurs? If we're talking about them, we're far from. What happened to Arsenal?
Breaking into that whole kind of top four theorem and everything. No, bro. Arsenal and Spurs, those guys they're done. They were done ages ago. But so talk to me. So what was the mood like once the news? So around when did the news was this official?
It was afternoon, if I remember. It was definitely because there was strong because yesterday. It was very, very strong. I think ever since they put out that the Bayern Sports thing had been resolved, there was everyone's.
Thank you, bro. Thank you for the love.
Thanks, man. Thanks, man.
Thank you for the love.
But yeah, like everyone was pretty certain it was going to go through, and I think they officially broke news around the afternoon sort of time.
Because they were saying that it would take like 48 hours. That it would take 2 days.
But I mean. It just and the thing is, it's interesting because like people are, oh, the Premier League are kind of holding it back because of the potential linked rights abuses, etc. And then you find out like it had nothing to do with like rights abuse or stuff like that. It all had to do with Bayern's Premier League piracy issues and stuff like that. Like basically money with the Qataris. That's all it had to do with it. It had nothing to do with what was going on in Saudi Arabia or anything like that, So it's money. That's what all it had to do with.
But this is what I want to ask. Because I was on Twitter and I think this is a Newcastle fan.
Yeah.
Because he was responding to a tweet that Gary Lineker made. Yeah. And this guy said about how, as a Newcastle fan, I don't know how to feel that we've been bought out by a nation that has all this child abuse tactics and does really horrible things to his citizens and so forth. So this is sort of like blood money, and that the soul of football has been taken. And I was like, wait, what the hell is this clan taking? So what is your stance on that in a sense of, oh my gosh, is this morally defunct that Newcastle, we're happy, but we've been bought out by such horrible, devilish people?
First of all, I don't like necessarily judging an entire country or populace based on its worst elements. I don't think that's fair. And Britain and especially America seem to have this thing. I remember the same thing when the Russia World Cup sort of happened, where you highlight this thing. So therefore, all the citizens, all the business and everyone that must clearly be complicit in everything that's sort of going on. That's absolutely like if I said like those same people were like, oh, okay, well, because Britain was involved in the slave trade and because we have and America have like gun shootings, that must mean that every single white American hates black people and goes out on their guns. That doesn't happen. So we've obviously been told, but we've been told that this consortium has no dealings with the Saudi government, was independent of the Saudi government. Whether that's true or not is to be seen, but that's what they've disclosed. That's what they've told. So I can only go by that. Otherwise, well, we can talk about the Chinese businesses, the Russian business, etc. We're going to look into see whether they must have, like, at the end of the day, if you go high up, they're inevitably going to have ties irrespective. Like, I'm not naive, but from what they've declared, they're an independent fund, should be treated as such. And like I said, like, I think it's wrong that you judge the worst parts of that you judge a individual and hold him accountable to the practices of the state. Maybe the head of the Gona actually is this owner guy who eventually conducted football is against all those things, but like he's obviously not the person who sets the laws or the prosecutor. You kind of see what I mean, so it's at the end of the day, it's a lot more complicated than that. And the funny thing about these things is that, like, and this is where I do get annoyed with these types of people, is that there's been interest by these guys over the last year and a half. So what did you do if this was such an issue for you and all the people commenting about it? What did you do in a year and a half to make that known? What did you do? Like, what did you do? Did you go out and like put a petition out or raise more awareness for issues in Saudi Arabia, etc., etc.? Like, did you actually, as an individual, do anything to raise awareness or contact organizations to bring attention to things? You didn't do anything. So it's only now. So coincidence now you're like, oh wait, oh here might be. It's like, so clearly you don't really care. Because if you did care, you'd have done something in the year and a half to 2 years when the interest was there, than not. And I can't stand people that generate like self-righteous ness, but don't actually do anything about it. Don't generally care. It's allow that.
Like for me, people just like to talk because again, it's a whole virtue signaling, and people just like to say, "Oh, I was on the right side of history," or be moralistic, and it's like at the end of the day, guys, get real. Now, how true is this?
I mean,
because for me, this is like, see, I always say never believe everything on the internet apart from Wikipedia if you're trying to pass your degree in university.
Yeah.
But 320 billion next to 23 billion, 15 billion, 11 billion. Wow, Abraham 9.6 billion. God damn.
Abramovich is, well, there you go. So
so Aniel is that rich? 11 billion?
Yeah.
So why are they finding it so hard to buy players if it's worth 11 billion?
Well, this is the thing that we're going to talk about, because like at the end of the day, it's one thing to have money, it's another thing to have like, and whatever you say about Sheikh Mansour, they've obviously had a plan. So obviously Newcastle now, like everyone is getting drunk, wasted, probably not going to be going to work tomorrow. Like literally, it's just mad. It's absolutely crazy. Like, bro, like Newcastle obviously is considerably like white compared to other parts of the UK, man. And yet you see. You're literally seeing, bro.
Stay safe, carry
no, it's not even
samurai sword.
That's the thing. It's the opposite, because people now, they're literally is like Saudi Arabian flags. Everyone's like wallahi. You see like white people like wallahi with the Saudi. There's white people in front of the Newcastle stadium, just being like, yeah. It's just like bring. It's just so funny, man.
Look, if you're like a Newcastle fan, you have to be excited. You have to be excited because, see, guys, football, it's a game. It's not real life. It's a game, and it's a pastime that we are very passionate about and we're very into, and it's like our addiction. And when you look at Newcastle, for a team who have been through just the worst and so forth, and for a team of its stature, and because we say you judge a team by the size of its stadium and its fan base, and when you look, I remember whenever like you will go to see a game played at St. James's Park, man. I was like, no, this stadium is bad. This is massive, and then you don't see this huge, massive guy. And guys, in January, February, it gets freezing cold in England. And in January, February, you just have this huge, massive guy, massive belly, no shirts, nothing, bare chested in the freezing cold. I'm like, okay, yeah. No, these fans are different. These fans are different, man. So
the women do just the same. December stuff, and there's not much left to the imagination. Let's put it that way, guys. I'll keep it PC because there's kids watching. Man,
this sounds like Vikings, like 1300, 1200. Your boy Miguel Rabines, who says, if I were a betting man, I'd put my money on Liverpool being the big club that suffers long term, giving FSG's lack of investment into the Liverpool squad. see, now we're not getting real. Because my thing now is, as I said again, it's like, I think for some even said in the national industry, Cronky, those Glazers are rich. Those guys are rich. Like, I'm surprised that the Glazers are not even up here. Or maybe they've not really they declared the funds, but Glazers are definitely in the billions. So is Stan Kroenke. But you see, these guys are football fans. FSG, Kroenke, Glazers are not football fans.
Yeah.
There may be NFL fans, but really they are business guys. But this Sheikh Mountain Saudi Arabia, they like football. Abramovich, they love football. So for them, they're like, bro, it's like if you have like a cheat code on Football Manager, we have like loads of money. You're like, man, let's buy. But if let's say I was Stan Kroenke, I'd be like, oh no, save. I'm like, okay, saving for what?
Yeah,
I can't just save. You know,
these football clubs are not like this. I think the difference with the way that the Kroenkes United and all these things is that like they are businesses. To these, it's like just a toy.
Yes,
like not like this. I mean, it's worth 320 billion. They don't need to buy Newcastle Football Club. Like 320 billion, that's what it's worth. Like they don't need to buy Newcastle Football Club. It's almost like a toy. It's like
which is why if you should be excited because these are not guys who will now use this as a business, because if it's 320 billion, we don't need you for an extra business. So what this is that I'm bored. I want something to do. I like football. Hey, how about have a nice little squad and build?
Yeah.
Because see, this is why I said that I'm all for the Super League. Let everybody have a freaking super team. Like, let this be FIFA 2022. Let this be like Ultimate Team. We all have superstars. Let's go at it because it is what it is. My boy Muna Messenger, who says, "Thank you for the dog, man. What current Newcastle players do you think will still be on the team 5 years from now? Willock, Sense, Maxima."
Maybe you can cue into the not predicted, but like I basically did select a team, potentially a realistic team based on whether they get Conte, but also
so is it this one here?
Yeah. So these are players that like a combination of on their last year of their contracts going into the summer, and people that might be available. So, because Modric is there because he's going to his final year, and Madrid.
Carvajal would never leave Real Madrid, man. He'd never.
He's going into his final year. Though. He's going into his final year. The whole point of this is that like
you can't do this to Hazard. No. If Hazard comes, no way Hazard comes to Premier League and he doesn't play for Chelsea, bro. Nah, don't do that,
bro. If you got a guy who's like, you can come, and we're gonna pay you, 300k a week.
Yeah, that's the thing.
What do you? This is the key. This is the key thing. It's like, Newcastle, and I want to make this point here. Like, Newcastle, not like Manchester City when Sheikh Mansour took over, because obviously Newcastle, one, they have an established fan base, much bigger fan base, and two, they're generating profit. Three, they have a ready makeshift stadium. Whatever you say about Ashley, the Newcastle Stadium, it's modern, it's fine, it's good, it's okay. So there's not really a lot of infrastructure per se that needs to be invested in. Maybe the academy, women's team, but there's not that much. So a lot of money can actually be redirected into getting players and players' wages for the men's team. And you can start off with getting these cheap deals with players in their last years of their contract, which like a lot of players here, like Carvajal, Modric, Sule, Zakaria from the Bundesliga, for example, Maximan. These are all players that are in the final of the contract that might be swayed. I don't think it will. It's just will Real Madrid offer a 36-year-old Modric, another contract?
See, here's the thing, guys. You don't know what is inside someone's brain, so you can just say that Real Madrid, how historic the club is, the club such and everything. Modric, his love for the football, boom. But what if it's like Modric's like, you know what? I don't want to go into journalism or anything. I just want to chill. And these guys are offering me like 300,000 for 2 years. Something that Real Madrid would not even think of offering a 36, 37-year-old.
Exactly.
And Modric will say, look, bro, nothing personal or so forth. In these 2 years, I can make on top of the money that I've already made throughout my career, in these 2 years, I could make serious cash.
Yeah.
It
It's
makes too much financial sense for me. And which is why that, and see, because it's like, if I see, the thing working against Newcastle is how can you sell Newcastle to a superstar? It's cold, it's up in the north and everything.
Yeah.
But guys went to go China.
China, exactly.
So my thing is, because for a player, they're like, bro, I'll play. If you're offering me 300, 400,000 a week, I don't care where it is. That is too much money to reject. Basically, I will deal with the code and everything. It's too much money. Guys went to freaking China where they don't speak English. The guys, see, Chinese food in China is horrible. Yeah. Chinese food here is amazing, but Chinese food in China ain't good. So you go to China, that is purely for the money and not for sightseeing. Yeah. So I think that if a lot of guys will be swayed by the money because, like, sorry, this is too much money to reject. And the fact that financial fair play doesn't exist. Financial fair play does not freaking exist. That's why this can go through. Bro, see, guys, see, right over. I love this. I think this is great. Your boy JJ Bridgman, thank you for the dub money. Says that this news just pushed. Yeah, I was ready to say, just pushed Spurs and Arsenal further back down the pecking order. I feel for them as a Chelsea fan. Well, not really big up. Because see, I already have discarded Arsenal and Tottenham because I just think they're on the way on the decline.
Yeah.
But my thing is, Red Devil, man.
United, Liverpool, right?
No. My thing is that this could not be the end of it. What if there are more? Red Devil, there are a lot of billionaires that exist.
Oh, yeah.
As I told you, football is going to look very different. See, guys, enjoy football while it's last right now.
These are different types of
football is going to look very different, bro.
I mean, these are different type of billionaires because these are like free figure billionaires. Which it's very like there are a lot of like most of the owners of the Premier League. People don't really appreciate this, but most of the owners in the Premier League are billionaires. Like if you scroll down that list, so you'll probably see. Let's see, Stan Kroenke is there, the Wolves manager, Everton manager, as Inter Milan managers there. Like, but in the Premier League list, pretty much almost every Premier League manager, certainly top 15 clubs are billionaires. I think the cheapest owner right now in the Premier League is actually the Burnley owner, followed by Norwich. So no surprises there. But most of the billionaires. So you have to be a billionaire to compete in the Premier League these days anyway. I think the difference between this, because it's like anything, like their levels, is mindset. So with the likes of the Kroenkes and the Glazers and all these things, the mindset is we want to turn a profit from these things. We don't necessarily care about the football. We want to make a profit. We want to expand. That's it. With these guys, it's I don't really care about we take like 100 million losses like for how many years. I don't mind. We want this entertainment. That's the difference.
Red Devil, perfect example. Mbappe.
Yeah.
If Kroenke or FSG or Glazers own PSG, Mbappe is playing a Real Madrid right now. Like,
exactly.
Bro, you're not going to sign a contract, bro. How much? Sell. But for PSG, they're like, no, we're good financially here. This is our baby, and we want to keep Mbappe for as long as we can because it makes it good for our football team.
Yeah.
So when you're dealing with these dudes, they're like, guys, Newcastle, this is our baby now. So right now, their thing is, we have the cash. We can pay you. Do you want to come? And for a lot of guys, bro, I don't give a damn whether it's on the moon thing and so forth. As long as you can promise that I don't get lynched and so forth, I'm there.
Yeah,
I'm there because this might be 320 billion. That's cash. That's cash.
HH. This might kickstart Hazard's career back. I mean, you got to think about it. Think about like this. It could
be if I see Hazard in a Newcastle jersey next summer.
Bro, it could literally, he could ball. You saw that team. That team, if Conte gets it, like even think of all the Juve players, like exchanging the black and white of Juventus for the black and white of Newcastle. That's the thing about this thing.
Because funny, someone just wrote the thing like says Bram kind of broke. But the funny thing is, This just shows how crazy this is. That when you look at this list, you're like, oh wow, 9.6 bill. Oh, that's not really that much. Because when you compare it to 320, but 9.6 compared to, Red, 9.6 could buy both of our lives 1 billion times over.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, you just
9.6 next to 320 is like, oh geez, 9.6 next to us here.
Yeah.
It's a different planet, man. But I mean, but 320 billion.
It's just mad.
That's my thing. Even if that's not accurate, it's got to be around 200, 250, and so that is.
It's insane.
But actually, let me ask: why do you think they chose Newcastle specifically?
For the things that I said, because I think that because, well, one, obviously, like the Saudis and the Qataris are rivals, from what I understand, and so they clearly want to get into this game to have their own kind of, club, as it were. There's obviously a lot of like, PSG have their own thing, City have their own thing. So, but to be honest, I think that Newcastle, have been like a relatively well-run, established club. Compared to other investments, because like the problem with like the likes of Arsenal and United, is that any of those owners, they want to like sell them for at least double digits of £1 billion, and then like how much profit are you really making from those clubs, on top of the fact that you have to clear their debt? Whereas Newcastle, like I said, one of the few clubs that don't have any debt, already have a modern stadium. There's not that much infrastructure needs to be done. So not only can you put money in and make this compete. I think Amanda Staveley, because she put a statement, she had an interview with one of the Newcastle reporters, which was literally like, we want to be competing for the Premier League within the next 5 to 10 years. That's what she's saying. Like, so from that this is serious.